Yeah, as I told you, I'm PhD in art history, and my PhD was about Japanese sword mountings, that Japanese sword fittings, the parts more artistic inside the Japanese sword. And also, I am practitioner and teacher of old Japanese martial arts. That is the one. It's called the short name is the Yajutsu. That is the art of taking out the Japanese sword, and the Naginata Jutsu. That is the Japanese halberd. Uh, Long name is the I will show you the Muso Jikide Neishin Ryu Yajutsu Yamauchi Hakome Juku. That is what it's very good. We can so some pictures here, and so because of this, my main fields of research is about the Japanese military history, the Japanese weapons, both in the military context and both in the artistic context, and also the Japanese martial arts tradition history. So, what I want to tell you this lecture is about the evolution of the educational process that happened in Japan just before the Meiji era. The Meiji era was the first modern era in Japan. The Meiji Jidai that begin, as I told you, in 1868. And first of all, about forgers. Japanese forgers, the name is Kaji. And this forger, for example, this is 19th century ukiyo-e, but the history of this painting, the same, is the history of the forger Munechika, helped by fox spirit to forge a sword. That's the way they dress. It's this story is from the 10th century. So the forgers in the 10th century in Japan, where they work, how they learn. Well, sometimes in the outside, sometimes in small places. If we go a little more in the 16th, 17th centuries, we can find also this atelier, this workshop of these forgers. In this case, it's not forgers, but it's sword sharpers and polishers. That is the name is Togishi in Japanese. This Shokunin is the Japanese artist, so this artist Kano no Shinobu made some paintings about different Japanese artists. So they are working in small places, and in these places they are working and they are learning, because these artists are learning in guilds. So this 20th century painting, they are not forgers of Japanese swords, just forgers of another iron tools, but we can look at the place is the same. Small places, few people. Oh, by the way, this artist is very famous. I don't know if you know this movie, Jigoku, The Gates of Hell. He is not only a painter, but he won a prize for this movie. And nowadays, we can find some forgers. And, okay, this is the most amazing part, the fire and the forge of the Japanese sword. But if you look background, the atelier is almost the same. This is quite big. This is the Bisen Osafune Museum and Forge. That is the most important and old forge in Japan. And it's also a museum, and it's not only for forge, but here people who visit the museum can watch the forgers working. So this is why this specific case is so big. But the idea is almost the same. This girl is a sayaishi. It's an artist that made the scabbard of the sword. And this guy is also a sayaishi. This guy. And this guy is a polymono maker. That is a guy who makes the reliefs and sometimes the open works in the Japanese glaze also. And this girl is a tsuba maker. Tsuba is the Japanese sword guard. That guard with your hand when you hold the katana. If you look the background, it's the same kind of atelier. Small place, few people. And this is also another Japanese forger, very young, and forge is very small place. So then you look that, and I want to introduce you very quickly this artist, Kano Natsuo, because looking at the history of this artist, we can notice about this change of the educational process between the middle of the 19th century in Japan. This artist started like another artist in the old Japanese history, in a guilds, going to a master house or small place to learn directly from the master. And these places were few people because Japanese traditional educational process, martial arts or arts are, the idea was one teacher can form 10 students in their whole life.
Oh.
No more. Okay. So you can have more students, of course, but at the end, only 10 students are your direct students.
So you're the master of 10. All in all.
So he started this way of learning, but he lived in beginning in the 19th century and all 19th century. So his history was quite new. 10 minutes, okay. For this time, that for example, you know, Japanese way of thinking, that is, I only know that I know nothing, and this kind of philosophy. But this artist was quite strange, and when he was only 12 years old, he told his master, "Oh, I learned all, so I leave you and I go to search another master." So he took till
17. Did he come as a student for that particular master?
Yeah. So till 17 years old, he took 3 masters.
Oh.
And all of them, he told the same thing. I know all, I learned all, so I leave you and I search another teacher. So this was quite strange for this age.
And I was sorry for interrupting. How was he treated? Because it's like, it reminds me of your example of, you know, the tone. Okay, when you show your tone, when you don't like something. I mean, and just this example for me is so strange because the cultural setting that you suggested at the beginning. So I really wonder, as an educator, so how the educators, all these 3 educators who were treated by the student like this, reacted in that cultural setting.
Yeah, the point that he can do that and go to another teacher is that if you go to a more high-class teacher, then the low-class teacher can say nothing.
So no resistance.
Because he say, okay, I learn all from you, I search another high-class teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So the low-class teacher, of course, is angry, but he can say nothing because this thing. So
Thanks.
that's the way.
But the high class teacher must accept the new student.
Yes, because this student, in particular Kano Natsuo, was very good.
Okay.
If the student was not so good, then don't accept it. Sometimes this guild education, the students go to guild and learn, and the normal way is to stay the whole life in the same guild and go up and up and up, and the last step is that the master adopts the student, give the surname, and bring to his family.
Oh.
This is the normal situation.
Uh-huh.
But in the 19th century, and this Kano Natsuo, he made something different. He don't stay whole life in guild. He moved to many other guilds. So that's also because this sword parts artists in the 18th and 19th century, some of them have around 7 to 10 different names and surnames because they was adopted by different masters.
Uh-huh.
So
the length of your name suggested how clever or talented you were.
yeah, they use different names.
Uh-huh.
If you took a name from a low class teacher and then you took a name from a high class teacher, then you don't use anymore that name. Okay. I go faster. And about martial arts, this is a picture of a dôjô, of a place to learn martial arts. It's 20th century, okay, but the martial arts was the same idea of the artist. They are the dôjô, you know, before 17th century in Japan, there was no dôjô. If you want to learn martial arts, you go that mountain, you go that place, you go that town with that teacher, and he teach you something. But in the 17th century, they start the Edo period, so they start all things get normalized, and they start the dojos, the place for learning. And 17th, 18th, and 19th century, the dojos were the same as I showed you the forges. A small place, with small people, only one teacher can take 10 students to the high rank qualification, and that's the way they learn. Similar picture. And as I told you, in the 19th century, when Commodore Perry of the United States arrived to Japan, it changed all, because that time Japan must to open to all the war. So, okay. So this change brings Japan to a civil war that finally ends with a new state of government that is an imperial government. From the 12th century to the 19th century, the emperor of Japan has no real power. And from the 19th century, the emperor gets again the power, but with democratic government. But
Democratic power. Sorry.
yeah, like today. I mean.
It's funny in the Hungarian
So take a look about this samurai. And same year, okay, same year, they changed that way. And go United States, and go France, and go Spain to look, and go England to look how the world is changing. And Japan, in just about 20 years, made all the changes that in Europe we made in 1 century. So it was very, very, very fast. And what happened about the artists? Well, in 1873 in Vienna, there was the international exhibition to promote the national industry, and Japan copied that some years before, in in 1877, and the second edition, 78, and the third edition, also 78. Kano Natsuo was the organizer. So this, as you can imagine, is not anymore small places. There are big places to show the arts, and also big places to learn the arts. The small places to learn, the 10 students became the fine arts academies with 30, 40, 50, 70 students and one teacher.
Oh, come on.
So it was very complicated change for that people. This Kano Natsuo, that was one of the first teachers in the Fine Arts Academy of Tokyo, and these are the founders of the academy. And also, very fast, these three edicts are very important, especially for martial arts and sword arts in Japan, because this Danpatsure was to tell the people to advise, especially the samurai, to leave the swords and to leave the samurai clothes and to put the trousers and jackets, to leave the samurai hairstyle, but it just was an advice. And this year was the creation of the Imperial Army. That was very important because that army was no longer like a samurai army. It was a modern army, and the Haitore edict was to prohibit to wear swords or to dress like a samurai. So this changed all. You can see this first Chinese-Japanese war. This is the Imperial Army. And you remember that polishers and then sharpers, the togishi, then become that. So there is no more small places. Okay, I go fast. Okay, take a look to this list. This artist, Uno Shomin, was a student of the Fine Arts School in Tokyo, a student of Kano Natsuo, and only his sons take his name. All his students keep their surnames and their names. So the academy was no longer a guild. The academy was no longer a family program. It was an open access to everybody to go study, and you do not need to take the surname of the teacher. And okay, because this prohibition of Japanese sword, they make another things very interesting. And what happened about martial arts? At the beginning of the 19th century, doesn't happen many changes. Just many more people come to the dojos. But at the 19th century, they stay almost the same that in the 17th century. But when we go further to the 20th century, then we will find not only more people, but any kind of people, children, old people. As the professor asked before, when a teacher accepts a student, because he's a good student, also in martial arts. So if you are a very good teacher and comes an old man to learn from you, you say, no, thank you, you are very old, so I don't accept you. But in the 20th century, this all changed. So these dojos accept all kind of people. And this moved to from the dojo to the sports center. So there is no any longer a small place with one teacher and 10 students, but a big, huge place with any kind of people, not only men, but men and women, and all sharing place to learn both martial arts or arts, and with a new Western and open mind educational process.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure if the development process that took place in 20 years in Japan concerning education and the number of students you're supposed to teach is the development or the way around. Any other comments or questions?
I mean, it has like a lot of relationship.
I cannot hear you, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm Gonzalo, I'm also from Spain, from the University of León. And I have already studied Japan history because it has a lot of relationship with sports science and sports science teacher, because during this area, Jigoro Kano was also in the government of Japan, and he was in the education government of Japan, and he was a sports science teacher because he established the judo martial arts, and he has like a lot of relationship with the type of pedagogical way that Japan is going to take during the next years. So it's true that the Japan during this time, the Japan theoretical and pedagogical ways to teach change a lot of, and he has a lot of relationship with the sports science and all the physical activities.
Thank you so much.
Jigoro Kano is a very interesting person to this educational process because, Jigoro Kano was the founder of the judo. And very interesting his history because when Jigoro Kano told his fathers, I want to study jujutsu, that is the old judo in Japan. And the fathers say, no, I don't allow you. Why? Because these dojos are very small places, and with especially, because this high Torah edict in the 1876, they don't allow any more swords, but you can have a knife, hidden knife. So then the swordsmanship schools get lower and lower, but the jujutsu schools and the knife schools get higher and higher. And sometimes the mafia and the yakuza came to the jujutsu dojos to take soldiers and stay on the dojo and watch, and this man is very, very strong, and this man handles the knife very good. So when they go out the dojo, say, okay, I have money. You want money? I have money. Work for me. So that's because fathers of Jigoro Kano say, no, the dojos, the small place for learning are not good. You must go academy, you must go to the university, and when you finish all your studies, then you can learn martial arts. So Jigoro Kano did that, and when he finished university, he started to study jujutsu, and after that he made the judo. And it's very interesting what he told about that, because I suppose all of you know any martial arts, karate or judo, they have belts with colors. This was created by Jigoro Kano, because in old martial arts there was no belts and no gradings, no kyu, no dan. It's just the teacher say, okay, you are good, you are not good, I give you my surname to you now. So Jigoro Kano had a problem. How can I test my students in this modern educational system? So he took the idea of the go, that is the kind of Japanese chess, and he put these gradings of the kyudan and these color belts to the judo, and all the other martial arts looked at and put the same way. And it's very interesting because not only Japanese martial arts, but Korean martial arts and Chinese martial arts looked at educational process, and all they take the same. So Jigoro Kano is very interesting man. And another very interesting thing about Jigoro Kano is that his dojo, I put one picture before, was the Kodokan, the dojo of Jigoro Kano, get bigger with more people, any class people. But when he was promoted to be the leader of the Dainippon Butokukai, that it was the first pre-Second World War association in Japan to promote the martial arts, and he said, okay, I accept to be the president, but just with the condition that the judo is not inside this institution. And he was completely. I'm sure that he was completely a part of the judo was Olympic, because his idea was to open the judo to all the world, but maybe not to all the people.
Okay, Marcus, we're gonna consider to invite you as a guest professor for the physical trainer, guys. Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Okay, thank you guys very much for coming.
Yes.
And I hope we're gonna see one another and us and our guest professors in a near future soon.
Of course, any question, my mail you have
Yeah,
here, you
as
can
I
send me.
told you, just put down.
Give your-
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Marcus.